This is Keith Fraser for Seconds Out, the #1 boxing YouTube channel. Well, it is when I'm on here. But we've got a special guest, as always, my main man, Spencer Oliver. Spencer, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, Keith, all good, my friend. Talk Boxing with Spencer Oliver and Simon Jordan's a pretty good YouTube channel as well, by the way.
Well, I do listen to it. And by the way, just going off at a tangent, Simon Jordan owes me an interview, but that's beside the point. Spencer, obviously we're here at the workout, Buatsi Azeez. I got to tell you, I am looking forward to this fight on Saturday. I can't call it. I know Buatsi's the slight favourite, but this is a really close one, isn't it?
Listen, we've all got an opinion on who's going to win this fight, but none of us can really call it. That is the reality of it, Keith. I think that, you know, when you go back like 18 months and you would have talked about this fight happening, you go, Joshua Buatsi would start the firm favourite against Dan Azeez. You know, these two have got history. They're old gym mates. Like, if anything, Joshua Buatsi was more of a mentor for Dan Azeez than anything else. You know, Buatsi was the 2000 Olympic bronze medalist. He was the kid that when he turned over was talked about globally as the best prospect in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, high things were always expected of him. Dan Azeez couldn't even get a contract with a promoter. He's going around begging every contract. None of them believed in him. So he went back to the gym, worked hard, done it the old school way. Small hall shows, Southern area title, English title, British title, Commonwealth, European. Done it in the other guy's backyard as the underdog. You know, and you go, now all of a sudden, you fast forward 18 months, you look at it and you go, it's a 50-50 fight. And it's like, you know, it's like an old school, you're right in what you say, it's like an old school fight where you go, I love this, you know what I mean? WBA #1, Joshua Buatsi against WBA #2 in Dan Azeez, and WBO #1 and #2 respectively, WBC 2 and 3. I mean, these guys are highly ranked and they're putting it all on the line. But for the winner, obviously you get the opportunity to fight someone like the winner of Dimitri Bivol versus Beterbiev, which is happening June the 1st. You know, there's huge things on the line for the winner and for the loser. It's not over. They have to go back, rebuild. And another thing that's very, very important in this fight as well is there's South London bragging rights on the line as well. Both of these guys, you know, like Buatsi from Croydon and Azeez from Lewisham. When you have fights like when you box guys from the same region, the same area, that sort of like goes down in your legacy. They're the fights that you're sort of remembered for. And so there's a lot on the line here, a lot of pressure on the line here. And I'll tell you how this fight goes right now for me, because I'm undecided on who wins the fight and how they win it. I lean towards Buatsi just on pedigree, because you go, you sort of got to if you're putting your money somewhere. But Azeez feeds off that, and that makes him dangerous. And I think it's all about the pressure. Who can handle the pressure better on the night? Who turns up on the night? That's basically who's victorious. It's one of those ones. So there's a lot more to it than who you just think would win the fight. Do you know what I mean? As in that, it's like, it's all about the night and the pressure and everything else surrounding that, and it makes it very, very difficult.
Who do you think the pressure is most on? Because obviously Buatsi was the golden boy coming out of the Olympics. Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn were saying, we got Buatsi, this guy's going to have an unbelievable career. His career kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
And then now he's moved to, obviously, to boxers under a new promotion. Where's the pressure? Because it seems to me that Buatsi's got to perform. He's got a huge name. Azeez is 34 years old. He's the older. Where's the pressure like? Because there's a massive end goal online.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you where the pressure is. Is that like the pressure is majorly with Joshua Buatsi, because he's the one that's expected to win. He was the one that was expected to win. Even now, even though a lot of people are going, yeah, it's 50-50, but if anyone's got to put their money or their house anywhere, they're going to go Buatsi, because that's the safe bet. You know what I mean? And so the pressure then lies on Joshua Buatsi, because he's the kid that's always been in the limelight. He's the one that people have always expected things from. Dan Azeez is not. You know, he's been boxing small hall shows, non-TV shows, trying to earn the right, you know, developing in the system. Do you know what I mean? Like boxing, going around the country, going abroad, being the underdog. So yeah, the pressure's on Joshua Buatsi, definitely, because I think that he's the one that, you know, that the casual fan would expect to win.
And of course, after this fight, whoever wins, we know that there's obviously the potential for a world title shot, but then there's the obviously undisputed coming up potentially in the summer. So we're going to delay that. Do you think it's like the winner will face someone like Anthony Yarde, or is that too risky because they'll be in pole position for a world title shot?
No, so the way the landscape lies with these light heavyweights right now is like you said there, you know, Bivol, Beterbiev, June the 1st, Saudi Arabia. that's where you'd expect that to land. And you go, well, they're not going to be ready to fight again. And I don't know what their obligations are with the different governing bodies. They're not going to be ready to fight again until the end of the year. So you go, after these guys fight, they're going to be looking for another fight. Anthony Yarde's looking for another fight. The winner of that gets the right to fight there. Also, with Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions, their connections out in Saudi Arabia, you could have the winner of this fight fighting Anthony Yarde out in Saudi Arabia. That sort of makes sense. That's where we're at right now. It's all about huge fights and what these guys can get from it, because the winner of this fight versus Anthony Yarde, I know Anthony Yarde's been touted to be boxing Callum Smith. That's a potential one as well. You could have the winner boxing Anthony Yarde and the loser boxing Callum Smith, and vice versa. That's where we're at right now. But there's a pool of fighters in Britain that can earn a lot of money from each other, and they're great fights still with the right to fight for a world title. So look, I know this is a WBA final eliminator, but it's all about money and and that as well. It's called prize fighting, and it's about the best opportunities for the fighters at the right time. But for the winner, there's huge opportunity.
The winner and the loser. But of course, this division in this country is heating up. Yeah. Obviously, there's a man just standing over there about 30 feet away, Ben Whittaker. There's a guy who I know that you were ringside of because I saw you, although you weren't paying much attention, I must say, Ezra Taylor, who fancies himself as a future prospect, or as a prospect now. But everyone's talking about Ben Whittaker being fast-tracked. Do you think within the next year we're going to see Ben Whittaker in with the likes of Buatsi, Azeez, Yarde?
Definitely. He's super talented. It's going to be more difficult to hold him back than to let him go. That is for sure, because you see he's got star quality, and you look at him and he's got everything about him. You go, they're going to have to move him on quite quickly because he's that good. Ezra Taylor's a great fight for him, down the line. And like you say, you can see him within the next 12 to 18 months, definitely up there, at the level of Buatsi, Azeez and fighters like that, because I think he's got that star quality.
I don't want to keep you too long, Spencer, because I know you're doing the rounds, but I know you're super. One thing that always stands out with you is you have such an unbelievable enthusiasm for the sport, and I appreciate your time. Now, the other thing, we've also got Adam Azeez on the bill.
Yeah.
Adam Azeez, another guy that you rate as super talented and a guy who can be fast-tracked. But let's make it clear, he's in and around the lightweight, super lightweight divisions where there is a plethora of unbelievable talent. Would it be wise to fast-track him knowing that?
He's got to develop at this stage right now at the European level. He won the European title in his 10th fight, beat my record I held for about 26 years, winning it in my 11th fight. But when you get to that, when you win that European title, you're on that world stage. You're fringe world level. And like you say, as the super lightweights right now is absolutely stacked with talent. Devin Haney's up there, Regis Prograis there. You look at fights like Javonte Davis, Ryan Garcia, massive names there, and he don't need to be rushed into that. He needs to develop and do it stay at the European level for a little while. Enoch Paulson, who is boxing here on Saturday, is an undefeated fighter, lost his title outside of the ring, and he wants to regain his. He's going to come and he's going to try and rip the titles here. We'll have an idea of where Adam's positioned right now, because if he wins this fight and wins it in style, you go, right, it's going to be difficult now. He's got to hold him there, maybe take him over to America, get him a 10-rounder over there, maybe a tough South American or something like that, and we need to sort of develop him like that before stepping him onto that world stage, because it's all about timing, Keith. It's all about getting the timing right. You know what I mean? Because yes, he is super, super talented, and I believe that, he's going to be a future superstar of British boxing, but you have to time it right, and that is the key. Let them learn their trade, let them develop at that stage, because he's only had 10 fights a kid. So Paulson on Saturday night is a great opponent for him, because he'll bring the fight to him, and we'll see how he handles that, Adam. But I expect him to come through with flying colours, and I think that, he's going to do the job.
And of course, you can see how sometimes fast-tracking a fighter can damage, it can have a negative effect. I mean, we saw, what was it, in September when Jordan Thompson went up against an Apataya, no amateur experience, 16th fight, obviously too soon for him. So can going in too early damage your career?
Oh, absolutely. It can be a career ender. I think it's all about, if I'm going to use an example, Ricky Hatton, use him as an example. They developed him well, Ricky Hatton. He didn't box for the British title until his 25th fight against John Paxton, when he picked up that horrendous cut. It was 25th fight he boxed for that British title, And look what he went on to achieve, because he learnt his trade on the road. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how super talented you are, you have to learn your trade still, get in with different styles and prepare yourself for when you step up there. And different fighters develop at different times. Like I say, Azeez, he's right up there now. He's world ranked now, and he's only had 10 fights. No need to rush him. He's only young. I know that you know, he's keen to want to win world titles before he's 22 and break all the records and break all barriers and all that. But just take your time a little bit, because sometimes that, you know, that can be a career breaker as opposed to a career maker.
Well, listen, Spencer, I could genuinely speak to you a lot longer, and I know that everyone is wanting a piece of you, so I'm going to let you go. It's been great chatting, and hopefully we'll chat on Saturday night as well.
I look forward to it. Cheers, Keith.